Taxi!
And with that, hello friends of the electrified charging fun and welcome to Electrified Speicher, your channel all around Skoda's e-mobility. Today we've got something special. I found an ENYAQ with nearly 300,000 kilometers of mileage done. And we will look at the condition of that car, at the battery, at all the maintenance it got, at the problems and everything around this. And since this ENYAQ is a commercial car in a taxi fleet at a company here, we will also look into that fleet, all the other ENYAQs, the Model Ys he has and the comparison to the ENYAQ, and what's also special about driving the ENYAQ as a taxi. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. We have arrived at the taxi depot here from Este Taxis. Este is the river flowing through the city where this company is. And you can see here there are already Skoda ENYAQs, there are some Teslas. And if we move over here, we see the car we talk about. But before we do that, look over there. There's a fast charger here. This is an Alpitronic, and the owner of that company thought, why shouldn't I have my own supercharger? That's kind of cool. Then over there you see the service area where they maintain their taxis. There's another AC charger, and again the next Skoda ENYAQ right here. And in front of it there's a Tesla Model Y. And this is quite curious. There is a company who's running taxis that has ENYAQs and Teslas, and so we can discuss a bit about how good is the ENYAQ and how good is the Tesla Model Y for driving with a taxi. And if I turn around, you see here even more Skoda ENYAQs as taxis. But now let's focus on this specific Skoda ENYAQ right here, because this is the mileage king, as I would call him. And now let's dive into that. Let's directly look at the mileage of this ENYAQ, and there you have it. It's basically 281,000 kilometers, so close to 300,000 kilometers driven. And now it's time to talk how this ENYAQ performs over this mileage and what problems or what services might be needed to keep an ENYAQ up and running to that mileage.
So with me here now finally is Felix. Felix is the owner of the cab company. Your oldest ENYAQ in the fleet right beside us here. How long do you have that ENYAQ? How long is it in use? Well, yes, hello Matthias. So we have 4 ENYAQ iV80 bought back in late 21, early 22. This one here is from January 22. So accordingly it's 2 years and 9 months old right now. It is in daily use here without in the fleet. And actually it's daily on the street. Except when he is in service. So that's exactly how it is. Okay, according to general rumors, Felix, this car should already have fallen apart long ago, because we all know electric cars only last around 100,000 kilometers and then everything magically is broken. That is what you generally often hear. Now, this one unfortunately is still standing here. So describe what happens. Did you have many problems? What about the wearing of the parts of the vehicle? So, well, that Skoda ENYAQ here, we can really say practically we had no issues at all. And it has significantly less repair costs as a comparable combustion cab with a comparable mileage. Okay, what kind of repairs have arisen? Well, of course, you have to say it's the first generation of a Skoda ENYAQ, so the first generation of the MEB platform with a few childhood diseases that were to be expected, like the lid of the charging port here, which could not be unlocked from time to time. Also, we had some damaged coupling rods, which needs to be replaced. Okay, let's stop here. When did the first coupling rod had to be replaced? Well, it was around 70,000, 80,000 kilometers when we had to do it. What about the brake? How many brake sets, how many discs did you have to use on this cars? Well, basically, on this car with 288,000 kilometers, it's still the first set of brake discs and brake pads. And basically we do those exchanges in our shop here ourselves, and I already got the spare parts, but I had never used them, so that was a rather bad investment for me. You also got some combustion engines still in your fleet, like the Mercedes-Benz E-Class. When do you need to change the pads and the discs there? Well, basically, Matthias, I have to change the pads after around 45,000 kilometers, and I have to do a complete service, so discs and pads after 90,000 kilometers. So basically, a combustion engine with a comparable mileage would have the fourth or fifth set of pads and already the third set of discs on it to achieve the same as the ENYAQ. Well, the car needs to roll on the road, so basically another thing that wears off are the tires. What is your experience with this, Felix? Well, this car is not the lightest one with 2.3 tons, so basically we experience to have the tires changed every 45 to 50,000 kilometers around, and that is a comparable value to our combustion engines cars. So basically it's not better, but it's also not worse than them. Well, Felix, did you experience any other problems, any other wear-offs? Well, yes, there is one thing with the dampers on the front axle. They become leaking after around 80 to 90,000 kilometers, so we had to replace them. This does not start suddenly, that comes over time, but basically, yes, this ENYAQ is already on the third set of front axle dampers, but that is also due to its usage as a cab in everyday use. Okay, and what about the rear dampers? Well, that's easy. This is still the first set. We have no problems at all with the rear dampers.
After talking about all the service and all the maintenance the car needed, let's have a look at the interior. And just to be reminded, this is an interior of a taxi car. So this is used on a daily basis by several people. This is not your family car. This is a taxi. Look at the leather. It's in really good shape. Look at the center console. This is what an ENYAQ could look like after 280,000 kilometers. And by the way, this is still the first set here. This is not changed. This is X-Works. And Felix did something very clever over here. We all know the Simply Clever umbrella, but he put in a broom so he can clean stuff up. That's quite interesting. Now let's also have a look at the rear seat, because passengers are more often on the back. And look at this. I can't count how many people would have been in this car until now, but this is really in good shape, even after such a long use.
Did you hear that? That door closed? Yes, that really sounds still great and beautiful without creaking, without squealing after this long duration and that use as a cab. And I'll just go over to the passenger side now, and it just sounds as healthy and fresh as the driver's side. And now I'm inside of the ENYAQ, and let's press and tap on everything like here to see if it squeaks or creaks, but nothing there. It still is in good condition. And Felix, I guess it's the same on your side. Well, yes, absolutely, Matthias. Here is no problem at all. Even during the ride, you do not have the feeling that you are sitting in a car which already completed over 280,000 kilometers. That means, Felix, you do not have any problems in the interior so far? Well, no, we do not have any significant problems in the interior at all. No material fatigue, no broken seams, nothing's. Okay, of course, the seats are not in the best condition, but always remember it is used as a cab, and they still look better as a lot of cabs I had before. And I would say the interior is definitely in the premium range. So of course I directly entered the charging menu because I'm curious how the battery is doing and what the charging limit would look like. And as expected, the charge limit is at 100% and it remains there. So let's see, now that this ENYAQ is at 78% with 261 kilometers of range. And now, please don't be shocked, because we dive into that directly. Felix, that value is not optimal. This must be said. And just a little moment, I want to look into the consumption menu so that we can see what is the average consumption of that ENYAQ to get that into a relation. And as we can see, it's 17.1 kilowatt hours 100 kilometers or 5.8 kilometers per kilowatt hour. So, Felix, what do you say? After 288,000 kilometers, what about 100% charge? What is the range? And also compared to the other iV80s in your fleet? Well, Matthias, I have to say this one really got bad about 4 weeks ago, where you could see a significantly drop in range. I must say it was more or less abruptly, and that had prompted me to do a battery certificate. We'll look at that later on. But the other three iV80 definitely perform better, have a much higher range, and I think a much better state of charge. But we have to be honest with this one. This is our first ENYAQ we used as a cab. And also this ENYAQ was driven in a 2 respective 3 shift system from day one. So in day and night operation non-stop. And therefore it was charged only or nearly only at the fast charger, DC charging. This ENYAQ rarely has seen any AC charging. So the range at 100% SOC is around 340 to 350 kilometers, right? Yes, you're right, Matthias, around 340 kilometers. And this car nearly only has seen DC charging and always to 100%. So basically, this is the maximum worst case scenario you can put the charging of an ENYAQ in, and the battery with an NMC chemistry. That is really the worst thing you could do. And now let's look at the battery certificate. You had done the certificate with Avilo Diagnostics, not the Skoda official one, because you did not want to go to the workshop, right? Yes, and basically this is what the certificate says. It's 78% state of health of the battery with a rest capacity or energy of nearly 58 kilowatt hours. Well, of course, that is not the best value, but also always consider how that car was treated, how that car was charged, and what has been done with it. So basically, at 300,000 kilometers with that charging profile, this is a really good value. And if you have a different one, and I bet most of you have a different charging profile, not always charging DC to 100%, you would be way high up in the 85 or nearly close to 90% state of health right now. So this is a pretty good result. Of course, this is an ENYAQ of the first generation, so we have to deal with the software version 3 in it. Also, you can see here some stuff which is in use for cab. And my question, Felix, would be, is it hard to get a Skoda prepared to work as a cab? Well, yes, there is a bit of a difficulty because Skoda does not prepare the ENYAQ X Works to give all the necessary interfaces to operate it as a cab, like getting the speed signal for the billing and stuff like this. So you need third-party solutions. A company from Bremen has done this for all of our ENYAQs, also the newer ones, with a neat integration, like as you can see here, the billing is done in the rear mirrors, like you know from other cabs in Germany. And they also took into account some individual needs, like putting a smartphone over here and other cab-related stuff. So basically this is X-Works software. So are you running on software version 3.7? I guess everything that has to do with the cab does not interfere with that. Yes, this is software version 3.7. I did the update at the dealership, and no, the cab software or stuff like this is not intervening or interfering with the integrated software. Talking about the software, do your drivers need that software in their daily use? No, they don't use that software very much. They have their own software on their smartphone. Of course, we use Android Auto, Apple CarPlay for Google Maps sometimes and other stuff, but basically we don't make much use of the integrated software in the car. And do you miss something in that software? Well, of course, it's preheating. That would be beneficial to charge the ENYAQ faster up in colder conditions, but as of now, this is not available. Driving in the mileage king here in Buxtehude on the road. As a passenger, I have the convenience to sit here and watch instead of driving, and Felix loves driving his ENYAQ. But what I would be interested in, Felix, what do your drivers think about driving the ENYAQ, driving electric? Well, my drivers are really happy with the ENYAQ, says Felix, because they love how this car is built, they love the quality, they love the feeling. And even the petrol heads in his staff were quite fast convinced that this is a better way to drive, and also it's more stress-free for his drivers, Felix said. And now I would be interesting, what are your passengers, your customers say about getting driven with the ENYAQ? Well, they are also quite happy about that, and we have several customers within our data who only want to get an electric cab. We even have that in their profile in our software, that they want the Skoda ENYAQ. They love how quiet it is and how convenient it is to be driven in such a car. So it's a win-win from a driver's and a passenger's perspective. As you can see right behind me, there are two Tesla Model Ys, and over there there's a third one. So Felix has Skoda ENYAQ and Tesla Model Y in his cab fleet, and that makes up for some very good comparison. So Felix, why do you have Tesla Model Ys in your fleet? Well, Matthias, maybe you remember back in the days all the delivery problems due to the global chip crisis and Corona and stuff like that. So basically, but also in that time, we had quite a good running business and we need more cabs. So we bought those two Model Y long range due to the shorter delivery times. And these two came right from Shanghai in China with about 4 to 5 months of delivery time. And over there, this one is from Germany, from Grünheide, and that only had a delivery time of 2 weeks. So now you have Model Y and Skoda ENYAQ. And is there a difference when a Model Y or an ENYAQ comes to a customer, a passenger? And Felix says, yes, there is one. There is something he called the Tesla bonus, because due to the hype all around the Teslas back in the days, and also his drivers really wanted to test out the Teslas. But now you also find within our CRM at some passengers that they stated they do not want to get a Tesla to pick them up. And now you may ask, why? And well, Felix can answer that. It's due to some simple stuff like a handle up at the car when you enter it, because he has passengers who need that help to get into the car. Or maybe it's the door handles to open the car, which also may lead to problems with passengers. And the ENYAQ, therefore, is way more a classical car, which gives all those benefits. Okay, now on the passenger side, now let's talk about the workshop side, because basically you do the service yourself, right? So what about service and wear off and stuff like that when you compare the Model Y and the ENYAQ, because both have the same tough usage in your fleet? And Felix says, yes, it is like it is. The Teslas also have the same mileage as the ENYAQs. And Felix says, well, the ENYAQ tops out first place when it comes to service maintenance and costs of this. It is unbeaten the best choice he made, also compared to the combustion cars he has. And the Teslas are way more delicate or sensitive when it comes to the chassis, to the suspension. And there I had to invest several hundred or 1,000 euros to bring them through general inspection. Talking about general inspection, both are commercial cars, so in Germany they have to go to general inspection every year. How often did the Tesla fail general inspection compared to the ENYAQ? Well, Matthias, basically we've got 4 older ENYAQs, 4 newer ones. The older ones all had gone through 2 general inspections. They never failed. They always succeeded that inspection without any problems, while the 3 Teslas, every one of that also had gone through general inspection. Everyone had fallen through, and we had to do some work to bring it through that inspection. And that was due to the chassis problems Felix already talked about. And this should not be Tesla beating or bashing or something like this. This is just Felix's experience from his everyday usage of his cabs. Now we're next to the combustion engine cars in Felix's fleet. He still got some of them. Well, here's a Volkswagen Touran 7-seater, and over there the iconic German cab, the Mercedes-Benz E-Class. But when you look around the yard of Felix's company, you get the feeling that the time of the combustion engine is coming to an end in this company. And now you may ask, why? Why does Felix not simply use some e-fuels for his combustion engine cars like HVO 100? Well, Matthias, you can't simply answer that question in one sentence, but first off, we have way lower maintenance costs with our electric cars than with the combustion engine cars, especially in a cab company. Maybe it is a bit different when you only do private usage of your ENYAQ. And second, we've got the cost efficiency of our electric cars. The cost per kilometer is simply way lower than we ever get with a combustion engine car. And that is highly important for a business like ours. And third thing, it's a much more convenient drive for the driver and the passenger. And now for the question, why not HVO 100 or e-fuels? That is quite easy for me. Where should all that huge amount of e-fuels come from to serve for countries or even on the complete European Union? We simply do not have much of resources to get enough e-fuels for the whole world. And at the total efficiency of the electric car, we were on the mileage king, and you saw for 90,000 kilometers an average consumption of 17.1 kilowatt hours a 100 kilometer, or 5.8 kilometers with 1 kilowatt hour. And if you do an honest conversion, you are at around 1.6, 1.7 liters a 100 kilometers of diesel equivalent. No combustion engine car can do that, not with e-fuels and not with diesel. And for me, the combustion engine cars are at the end of their life cycle. They've got overruled by the electric car, by the battery electric car, because this is more innovative and more efficient when it comes to its main purpose, and that is driving. And I also checked whether I really save some carbon dioxide or not. And I did the math with a fair energy mix, so not only clean green energy. And there you have to go with 300 grams of carbon dioxide a kilowatt hour. Here in Germany, when I do the calculation, then with all the fleet, since we operate electric cars, we saved over 150 tons of carbon dioxide.
So I hope you liked that little tour through a taxi company which went electric, and of course with our mileage king over there. Before I will leave here, Felix just gave me a little bit of energy from his fast charger here, so I have it easier to travel home. And by the way, he also has his own charging card. See here, because they have their own charging energy solution company founded, because this will not be the only charger here. They want to put up some more so that you have a complete charging park which is open to the public. So I find it quite interesting. Many thanks to Felix for spending his Sunday with me to do this video, and therefore if you like the video and the effort Felix put in, just give it a thumbs up. Consider to subscribe so you do not miss any new video content, and then we'll see each other in the next video. Until then, stay full of energy.